Obviously, President Trump makes much of his pitch about rural and working class Americans, people who feel forgotten and left behind. As you're around your Thanksgiving table this weekend, invariably somebody will lament having to pick between Trump and Biden out of a country of 330 million people. We feel your pain. 58% of Democratic voters would like to see a candidate other than Biden. 53% of Republicans still aren't sure if they would vote for Trump. But there is hope for all of those of us who wish it was something different. Who is ahead around Thanksgiving the year before does not necessarily make it to the finish line. Think of people like Howard Dean, Rudy Giuliani, Hillary Clinton, twice Herman Cain, Ben Carson, even Elizabeth Warren. They were ahead in their respective years about this time, 1 year before the general election, and none of them became president. So Trump and Biden should be worried that just statistically, one of them may not make it. But there's a different worry for Trump right now. Yes, he beats Biden in some head-to-head matchups. He should be, however, doing a lot better. Our friend Erick Erickson pointed out the Republican problem in his recent piece, writing, if you are a Republican and your frontrunner is tied with the most unpopular president in modern history and all your other potential candidates beat him handily, you might want to rethink your frontrunner, referring to Donald Trump. Erick joins us now, host of the nationally syndicated Erick Erickson Show, author of what I would argue is the best conservative morning newsletter, Show Notes. It's good to see you, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Look, there's a group of Republicans out there, right, who always warn that Donald Trump's going to win the primary and then lose the general. Why would this year be any different? And why would it be any different than 2016, where we heard the same warnings and he won?
So to step back, we've got to go back to 2016 when you're running against Hillary Clinton, who it turns out nobody liked, and she ran a bad campaign. Remember, not going to Erie, Pennsylvania, not going to Wisconsin or Michigan in the final weeks of the campaign. The Democrats are going to make those mistakes again. So really what Republicans who are pro-Trump need to ask themselves is, who voted for Joe Biden in 2020 who's going to come back to Donald Trump this time? It's a tough question to ask. And that's why I think they go to, well, the election was stolen, because that's their apologetics for how he lost. And when you look into 2024 and you look at the polling, the reason Joe Biden is behind, according to the NBC poll, the ABC poll, the Fox News poll, the CNN poll, the Pew poll, you name it, it's because Democrats aren't happy with Joe Biden. Well, guess who radicalizes Democrats more than anyone else? Donald Trump. So you make him the nominee, those Democrats are going to go home to Joe Biden, if only because they think Donald Trump's an existential threat to American democracy.
You say radicalize, maybe motivate, I guess you could also use as a word. My question would be this, though, just from an analyst perspective, and you and I have spent a lot of time talking about Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, who are both far behind Donald Trump, Vivek Ramaswamy, far, far behind. None of them have been able to cut into Donald Trump's lead. At what point do Republicans, as unseemly as it might be for many, have to just sort of accept the fact that he is going to be the likely nominee, and perhaps the real drama is going to be on the Democratic side?
You know, probably they're going to start doing it before Iowa. That's the problem for DeSantis. He needs to recover some momentum. It doesn't help him to be stagnant before he got into the race, being the guy to beat, and suddenly gets into the race and craters and hasn't really recovered that momentum. His campaign theory is that if they bounce out of Iowa having won, people look at Trump as not inevitable. Also, when you talk to the Haley and DeSantis people behind the scenes, they actually think there are a lot of people who emotionally tell pollsters they're voting for Trump, but won't do it at the polling. I think you got to go with the polling average that has Trump as the advantage. The question is on the Democratic side, you've already got the delegation process underway for South Carolina and the revised map, excluding New Hampshire. You're going to have people start qualifying there for the Democrats, just like Republicans, if they want to have someone else enter the race, or they're going to be precluded on the delegate front. That becomes problematic for both sides. It makes it far more interesting for you and me to watch this. And by the way, I should say, I still think Trump can beat Biden. It's just going to be resource intensive in a way Republicans don't have those resources.
All this talk is making me hungry. It's making me want to go to your Instagram. Not only is Erick Erickson a genius when it comes to political commentary, he is an expert on the grill. At some point, we're going to put up the pictures of your food, and they are perfect. So not only if you subscribe to Erick's newsletter, yeah, there it is. Not only do you get his brilliant political analysis, you get his recipes as well. Erick, happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. We're thankful, as always, for your insight and analysis. Right, it's good to see you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.